Welcome to Real Talk with Real Fit Pros, where we dive into everything fitness, business, and mindset. I'm your host, Jonathan Loudermilk, here to bring you raw, unfiltered conversations that will help you level up in life and in business. So kick back, relax, enjoy the show, and let's go get what you're worth. Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. It's your boy, Jonathan Loudermilk, your host with the most. And as always, I've got the boys with me, Josh Riggs and Andrew Big Nuts Carlson. That's right. I threw it out there, Andrew, just because. And we got another damn good episode coming in today. If you tuned into last week's episode, that was filmed before the election. This is our first post-election episode, so you know it's going to be a damn good episode. But before we get started, if this is your first time tuning in, I just want you to kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Your gift to us is you're taking valuable time out of your day to invest in yourself by listening to this podcast. However, if this is your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, your umpteenth time, you know what I need you to do. I need you to like, subscribe, share this out, send it to someone in need. I promise you there's something on this show that's going to be said that's going to help jar something loose, that's going to help you take just that one step closer to getting what you're worth in every area of your life. And when you share it out, it helps support the channel, but more importantly, supports the mission that we're on, which is to help our Fit Pro brothers and sisters get what they're worth in every area of their life. Let's go. So with that being said, man, we're going to get into some juicy stuff today in this episode. We're going to, obviously, this is the first episode right after the election, which, man, I don't, if you have been following along or whenever you listen to this episode in the future, 2024 was by far one of the craziest years for me, both personally and professionally. But the good news is there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline in the future. So I'm excited to get into all of that stuff. So before we do that, Josh, Andrew, how y'all doing today?
I'm doing great, my dude. And I'm excited to talk about some cool things and changes and show how ignorant I am to the world around me.
Yeah, man, you've been building a lot of cool shit lately, dude.
What I don't know might surprise you.
Right.
That's a good one.
And then Andrew got freaking married like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, week ago, 2 weeks ago,
3 weeks ago.
Oh my god, my concept of time is terrible.
And you said I did as a question. I did? No one told me.
Yeah. Well, he said like a week ago, and I was like, wait a second. It was a week ago.
Dude, where was I?
Tell me you have a toddler without telling me you have a toddler. I'll start. Just listen to anything I say more than 5 minutes. Like, this guy doesn't know what day it is. It's like, oh, he has a kid. That's why. It's like, good God. Dude, well, I do got to give you a little bit of hell, Andrew. I remember it was like last week. And Andrew came into one of our meetings and was like kind of dragging. I was like, dude, what's up, man? It's good, nothing, you know. That's just being typical, Andrew, just bottling that shit up deep down inside. And I was just like, Jit, you already tired from being married? I'm like, you just got married, dude. I'm like, it's only been a week. I was like, you got. This is a marathon sprint. You already look like you just ran a 5K, dude.
He got the hard stuff out of the way in the front of the marriage, so now he's
Exactly.
I have a theory, and I'll give you an opportunity to clarify. What I think happened is now that she's like locked into deal, you know, and got herself this stallion over here. Now all the things she really wants are starting to come out, and now Andrew's starting to go, oh. Women keep evolving what they want in their relationship while we just keep hoping they stay the same, which is what's going to happen for you, dude. You're going to be like, wait. She's not cool with us just staying where we're at. Like, nah, bro, she's got plans for you, dude. You don't even know.
No, honestly, I don't even remember what was going on that day. There was definitely no arguments. There was nothing going on, but I was like, I don't know. It might have just been like a weird day. Maybe something was going on, but I don't know. There hasn't been anything crazy yet, so we're good.
It's coming, man. Them wives be scheming, dude. I know Renee be scheming on me, man. She be planting seeds that like be manifesting like years down the road. She just gives me like that. Like, you ever watch Batman when Batman gets out the game and he sees Alfred? He's out there in like
Oh
France.
yeah, when he was with the girl, he's
Yep.
like, "Hey."
Renee, I swear to God, Renee gave me one of them fucking nods like last week on something. I was like, did you just Alfred nod me on some like strategic shit that you started years ago with me? I was like, I see you making them 9,000 IQ moves over there. So, dude, I say that just don't sleep on your girls, gentlemen. They're over here playing. They're over there playing chess while we playing checkers. That's all I'll say about that. But what I want to get into, man, what I'm super fucking excited about. And dude, I'm 39, so I've lived through a few presidents and some things in our country, right? But for the first time, dude, I feel the most optimistic and hopeful for where we're going in terms of just health and fitness, right? Because if you've been sleeping, unless you've been sleeping underneath a rock, which unless only Josh Riggs does, um, RFK is going to be stepping into the new presidential cabinet where he's going to be spearheading, the health administration, and dude, the things that he's coming in and tearing down and rebuilding, like I don't know about y'all, but I'm super pumped about, and especially, not just for myself, but I got a 2-year-old daughter who's going to be, impacted by what happens during this phase of things. So, so I'm super excited for that. So I wanted to go around with you guys and kind of pick up and kind of start breaking down, some of the policies and, things that are coming down, and kind of like, what are some of the things that y'all are excited for that's coming down the pipeline? So Andrew, I know you've been following it. So like, I'll let you start.
Well, I mean, the thing that I'm most excited about is they're doing something a little different. Where, most of the times they start their transition teams and then they just start hiring a bunch of people. And we're all like, we don't have a say. What are they going to do? And there's all these questions. Well, they've apparently just released on their website an open source form for all the positions. Well, for a lot of the positions. So people can actually like nominate themselves, nominate other people, and like nominate people who are really open to creating change in the health industry. So that's something that's super cool. Like probably people that we probably have never heard about are going to be stepping into the political arena, all for the sake of making people healthy again, which is going to be super cool.
That's
That's an
cool. I didn't know
amazing
that.
change.
I didn't know that. Dude, here's the biggest thing I've been seeing is RFK's video on YouTube, which is like trending like millions of views, where he's basically got like a hit video out for the FDA administration. He's basically saying like, "Hey, gang, you work at the FDA, you can pack your bags because come January, 1st or 6th or whatever the official date is that they do all the things." He's pretty much letting them know that he's going to be cleaning house, and a little bit of backstory with this too. And RFK does a great job exposing and talking about this. So, once again, go on YouTube and check out all this stuff. Maybe we can get some links in the show notes for y'all tuning into this. But he starts breaking down really where our food got bought and paid for. And and it makes a lot of sense when he breaks it down because, he talks about during the 60s and 70s where, the cigarette industry, the tobacco and alcohol industries were like booming then, right? But that's also when those industries were getting hit hardest from the government because obviously alcohol and, smoking are not good for you, right? So what happened, which this doesn't get talked about, is a lot of those people that created that addictive chemical and experience through that market, which once again, like that's how they built their empires, is repeat business. They took those addictive properties and techniques and they moved over to the food industry. So they started applying it to cereal and all these other processed foods that we've been eating for the last 40, 50 years, right? And it's why like people get hooked on certain ways of eating, and it's like they can't get out of it because of these people that engineered it from behind the scenes. And that's what RFK is going after. And man, dude, that fires me up. That's some David versus Goliath stuff right there. No wonder they're trying to kill Trump this whole time. And they probably gonna try a few more times.
I mean, I'm blown away by this. I'm super excited. So some some like information in the foreshadowing we gave at the beginning of this. The reason why
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about what I don't know might surprise you. I was like, who is this person? I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're both looking at
Oh,
me like
dude.
I'm a moron, rightfully so. But I was like, I don't know. So I'm learning about all this for the first time. You're getting my like real world reactions here.
Dude,
Uh,
you be working too damn much. I'm like, how the hell you not know about art anyway, man? Anyway, I'll let you keep going.
yeah, some context to the world of Josh. Josh goes, I have an idea, and then you don't see me for 4 weeks. Like that's how I work. Like I'm just like I have this idea, and then I come back. I'm like, it worked. Here's what happened.
Yeah, man.
So that's how I live my life. But I'm super excited about this. So being in the health and fitness industry, owning multiple gyms, nutrition's a huge role in this. Like
Dude,
nutrition
yeah.
is far more important than anything you'll ever do underneath a barbell. Like it will always be number one. Um, so getting to a point where now I can comfortably send people out, or hopefully get to the point where I can comfortably send people out to like a Walmart to buy foods and know they're not getting all the crap, the bullshit that goes in that. Like that'd be phenomenal. Because one of the biggest complaints we always get is like, hey, I truly want to eat healthier. I just can't afford it. Like to eat healthier, I have to go to like Whole Foods or something. And they're 100%. I'm not going to play a game here and pretend like that's not true. Like at the bottom line, you actually want to avoid a lot of those preservatives, a lot of those things that make you addicted to foods. You're going to have to go to those places. But if this man walks in here and kind of helps with that kind of stuff, like from a fitness standpoint, one, I'm excited that we're going to have a healthier generation. Two,
Mm-hmm.
that means people are going to have to spend less money to eat the food they need to get healthy. So maybe they can spend a little more of that money doing the things they need to do to get healthy.
Dude, that's a good point. And then another point to think about too is think about how much easier it'll be. You know what I mean? Because that's the number one reason people stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is they're not seeing the result that they want to see, whether that's 6 weeks or whatever amount of time that you promised them that will be here by. That's the real battle. So if there's healthier food out there and just less crap overall, dude, that's less damage they're doing outside the work, which means more results they see, which means they're more likely to keep doing and reinvesting back in coaching.
100%. At the end of the day, like everything we do as humans is behavioral related. And a lot of people think of behavior as like I do X, I get this outcome, and it's positive reinforcement, which is true. But there's a caveat to that too. The X outcome has to be so good that you forget how shitty the things you did to do it were. So if you lose enough weight fast enough, you'll forget how bad that AMRAP was. And you'll be like, look at how good I look. But if you don't lose weight fast enough, the reward isn't good enough to outweigh the suffering that is a workout I made for you. Because if I made it for you, you hate your life. Um, then you're gonna have a hard time keeping with it. So yeah, 100%. Like just from a behavioral standpoint, I if this change takes place, there will be no greater ROI, like no greater retention strategy than, hey, now they actually can lose weight eating the foods that they can get from a Walmart or something like that. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. Like I guarantee we'll see retention in gyms go up just because of that.
What I'm curious is like, what is it going to look like? You know what I mean? Like when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to like implementing these, like obviously there's going to be mass firings, and then there's going to be restaffing. But then, like, what does that next phase look like? Because here's the reality of it, and we've watched it all year with people literally trying to kill Trump. There's a lot of money tied up in this stuff, and that's why it's been the way it's been for as long as it has. So dude, like honestly, like I'm part of me is a little scared as we're talking about this, just thinking about as we peel back the onion, like I'm kind of concerned what other stuff we're gonna find as we dig in there, and then also like what other defenses may occur as we dig in there.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely curious about this. I feel like this is going to be a whole nother. Do you guys remember when Elon bought Twitter, or
Mm-hmm.
X, formerly known as Twitter,
Mhm.
the former artist known as um, the uh, so there was all kinds of stuff that came to light that was going on behind the scenes at Twitter, and like a lot of stuff that they were repressing, things you couldn't say,
Yep.
and like he got all the flack for it, and it got pretty nasty for a little while. Like, and his response to it was, "Cool, that's what I wanted. Like I wanted you to be able to say what you wanted." I'm curious what that side of things gonna look like. What kind of flack we're gonna see come out of the woodwork? Like, did you know actually this whole time y'all been eating like processed cow manure or something like that? Like,
Oh, dude, so that stuff's gonna come out in droves,
yeah.
right? Which honestly, like, if you want, and I highly recommend, like, if you're a Fit Pro and you don't know who RFK is, like, you need to fix that. Like, this guy's gonna be influencing you one way or another, whether you realize it or not. So, like, definitely, like, no, listen to him because a lot of the, policies and issues and all the things, like, he's already talked about. It's already information that's out there. It's just not very popular, or once again, it goes against the grain. So of course, the main media doesn't want anyone else talking about that stuff because that creates questions, right? No, people don't want questions about this stuff. They just want things to keep going how they've been going. But yeah, dude, that's going to be a whole nother can of worms. Like you're talking about, Josh, with the whole free speech thing. I think that one's going to go a lot faster, though, just because of this past year of it being so active in the conversation. And then also like live representation of like little suppression. Like there's literally videos going out there that like contradict one another. It's like somebody's lying. Like obviously the lie's been exposed. Like none of y'all are telling the truth. So I think that pill is going to go down a little bit faster. That's just my belief. What do you think, Andrew?
I don't. Mainly because
You
I
don't?
think you're going to see a David versus Goliath between like X and mainstream media, where there, as you can start, if you spend any time on X, you start seeing that they're calling it legacy media versus the new media. So I think there's going to be a big shift towards people going towards X to really see what the truth is and looking at mainstream media, while mainstream media is going to try to tear this part down to basically showcase that it's not going to be good enough. There's no scientific evidence, even though there is, and they're going to be battling against why this whole movement is not good and not beneficial. Because we do have so much money in this world, where it's like pharmaceutical companies, we have like the food companies, you have all these people. The way that I kind of foresee this happening, though, is America's finally going to catch up with the rest of the world in terms of the things that are on the ban list that other people in other places don't utilize in their food anymore. And that's when people are going to weirdly start losing weight without any problem now. And you're going to start to see that the chronic health issues that we have are either going to slow down or things are going to start morphing or shifting, because it's going to take, like, they're going to be given a 1 to 2 year timeline, I'm sure, to take things out of food. So it's not going to be an overnight thing. Because for whatever reason in America, we always say, here's the deadline, and then we give them like 6 to 12 months, maybe even 18 months runway. But I'm like, why? If it's banned, get rid of it. Make the company suffer a little bit here.
Well,
but I think they're afraid of that.
That's one thing, though. Like, I feel like with Trump and JD, though, they've been very clear on when it comes to like implementing stuff. Their stance is like, just do it now. Like, don't wait, don't hesitate, just get it over with. So I hear your point, and yeah, dude, they're definitely going to kick and scream when they're doing that. I'm just thinking in terms of how quickly will things get moved, not just from us as a people, like going, we need to go this way, but also from a government standpoint through the House, the Senate, all of that stuff. I think they're actually going to be able to move a lot faster than we think, and especially based on things
super fast.
Yeah, I think so. I think that will move quicker, is all I'm saying. But will they fight? Absolutely, dude. Like, it's basically y'all ever watch Ron Burgundy or Anchorman 2?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
So Anchorman 2, they go over like this like shift in newscasting where it goes from like actually reporting news to just like reporting bullshit. So then they all end up just chasing bullshit stories. So it's like Ron Burgundy is like, and here's a cute little puppy outside of a burning house, and it's like, oh, dude, yeah, like tune in and that's basically how they kind of expose like the news industry through that movie, which is really funny. So anyway, if you haven't watched that movie, it's a really great movie. But they're literally poking fun at the very thing we're talking about, like how news media, like, dude, none of that's about truth. It's about money at the end of the day and eyeballs. So anyway, that's a great point, though, Andrew. Then the other thing, though, real quick, while we're still in the RFK stuff, is the vaccines and the medications.
That's the first thing I read about.
Yeah, so I believe he's not anti-vax, but obviously he's not like everyone should get vaccinated or you're going to grow like an extra arm and all this other stuff. But I do really like how he's really adamant about, food, nutrition, and prescription for drugs with kids, because, one of the things he drives home is like, autism prescription or autism, like, I guess percentages have skyrocketed out of nowhere. And it's not like it's an actual, like, people are just getting this out of nowhere. It's linked to a lot of the food and medication that's been tied into that. So that's another thing that is going to be really cool coming down the pipeline, is like moving away from this, like, oh, I'm just this, so I'm just going to take pills and just stay this version of me and just stay labeled as this, versus just go, hey, maybe that's just who you are. You're a little bit weird. That's okay. Why don't you just take that and go be the best version of you? You don't need medicine. You don't need any of this stuff. And then just stop over prescribing our country and stop trying to put pills and everything, and just get back to like, hey, baby, this is just how we are at the end of the day. That's my personal view on it. I feel like some cases that stuff's needed, but I feel like for the most part, that stuff's just being overly used in every sense of the word.
All I'm gonna say is Forrest Gump did a lot of things in his life. And he didn't take any medicine, so just say.
Josh, I feel like Forrest Gump's your, huh?
Just go ahead, Jonathan.
I was gonna say, Josh, your spirit animal's Forrest Gump. I feel like
just keep running. I don't know where I'm going or what.
Yeah, dude. Like you're like Forrest Gump's like little brother or son. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll talk it out. Anyway, Andrew, what were you saying?
I will say, I hope with this administration we can actually start getting to the place where doctors are rewarded based on how many medications they get people off of, and actually healing people and making them feel better, instead of actually prescribing another pill. Because that's the one thing I've seen, especially in the natural health world, where people would come to me and they were on 6, 7, 8, 9, or sometimes even 12 prescriptions. And I had to fight the doctors to basically get them off of specific medications, just so they can get their body to a place where it can release weight to get healthier and we can heal. And I have many cases where I've had like clients where we went from 12 medications down to 1, and the doctor was like, what are you doing? Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because I don't know what you're doing, but we don't need these medications anymore. And that was like something that was really cool to see. Like, some doctors are open to it, and those are the doctors I like to work with. But I think doctors should start getting some kickbacks for getting people off medications instead of putting people on medications.
Dude, that would be great. The optimist is hoping that will happen. The pessimist slash realist in me is like, dude, there's just too much money in just keeping them on the pill wagon, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's no comp plan you could come up that could match that, like dollar for dollar. You know what I mean? Unless the government did this crazy thing that was like, hey, guys, those trillions of dollars we spend on bullshit? We'll use this to invest in y'all's health. Y'all are the future of our. That would never fucking happen. But what a beauty! That could be a book. Maybe that could become a book. I know a great publishing company.
A fantasy.
But that would be like that, like in a perfect like utopian world. Like, dude, that would be the perfect incentive. Like, hey, get people healthy, and we'll incentivize you on that. But like, dude, I watched that pain pill movie on Netflix, and it broke down basically the. I was like, that's disgusting, dude. Like just thinking as a salesperson, I'm like, that's a great business model. Like, if I was just a 1099 salesperson and you go build some relationships with some doctors and just get them just pumping out pills on repeat. Oh my God, dude, the residuals on that are insane. You're destroying society, but you're making tons of money.
I think I've said this for a long time. It reminds me of an analogy I say all the time. I feel like Superman's more likely of an actual real life superhero than Batman, because a rich
Right.
person going out there and saving the world is just not fucking happening. But
Right. Well, Elon, unless this is some sick like M Night Shyamalan twist where he like reveals like, and I'm Satan, got you fuckers, and it's like you now work for me. Not gonna lie, there's a little bit of that fear in me. There's a little bit. I still feel for most part he's a good guy,
yeah.
But at the same time, when you got freaking Iron Man at the helm and you don't really have a say anyway, it's like Jesus, take the wheel. Here we go.
I mean, we're just gonna smile and nod.
That's like me saying I let Brock Lesnar beat me in a fight. It's like a spar and he hits me once. I'll go, I'll let you have this one. I walk away. He's all confused, like, what? I'm like, yeah. You're lucky this time.
Just don't show up at this exact place.
I'm like
this
fucking speed walking away, like, go, God, go. He's still looking at me. Fuck. I gotta go. But needless to say, I know there's a lot of stuff happening. Whole point being, like, I don't know about y'all, I'm getting my house in order. Like this is the time, and I know there's the whole new year, new me, and dude, this is different. This is like we're about to have 4 years of doing all you can and canning all you do to provide for you and your family. And it's going to be a beautiful opportunity for all of those in the United States. So with that being said, now's the time and this is November as we're filming this, we've got less than 60 days to the end of the year. This is the time to start buttoning up. Like, what are the things that you need to get in place to make sure you're set up to go make whatever you need to go make happen in 2025? Now, this could be personal. This could be business. Like, I know for me, I'm doing a mix of both. There's some things I'm doing personally to make sure I'm in a position to reach the levels I'm going to reach next year. And I'm also doing things, for the business as well. So, Josh, I know you had a really cool story to share on those lines that happened at one of your locations today. So, dude, I'll kick it to you, man, on to share the story, and then once again we can start diving into like some things you can start doing to button down the hatches to make sure you're set up for 2025.
Hey, if you like what you heard so far, make sure to join us inside of our Facebook group, The Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. Inside of there, you're going to be able to interact with us, get your questions answered, dig deeper on stuff we talk about on the podcast, or you can also tap into some of our continuing education, like workshops that will help you grow your business in record time. So make sure to go over there right now before you miss it. So get over there.
Okay, this is a story as old as time. Kind of like Beauty and the Beast, but no one actually loves each other at the end of the story. So I don't know how everyone's opinion on this. Some people offer contracts for fitness. I personally like them because people, if you're getting a coach, you don't actually want to work out. So having some kind of financial incentive to keep you going, I feel like is important. So to give you some background, at my gyms, you have two options. You can do month to month with no contract, but you pay a little more. Or you can agree to be with us for 6 months, which is scientifically proven how long it normally takes to build that kind of habit. And you can save a little bit of money for your monthly payment, but you have to stay with us for 6 months. And basically, the gist of this, to sum it all up, is we have someone, they're on a 6-month agreement, and they're wanting to cancel before the 6-month agreement is up. Not medical related, nothing like that. They just don't want to do it anymore. Story of old as time. And I know how, like, I've always handled these situations in the past. But before I open the floodgates on how I handle it, I was just wanting to roundtable and see how you guys like to handle these kind of situations. Keep in mind, no medical reasons. Medical reasons are different. If you're about to go get surgery, you got hit by a car, if you're held in a contract after that, then whoever you're dealing with is just a piece of shit. But what's your opinion? I know, Jonathan, for example, I know you've dealt with this when you're in the fitness industry.
Dude, I still deal with it. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, people be people
at
the end of the day, right? So for me, I've found it goes down to a couple root things. Number one, if you're running into this, and I would say consistently, you're probably signing up the wrong person on the wrong deal, and they're getting buyer's remorse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing to look at. Like, is it consistent, right? Now, if it's a one-off, cool. What I have found most of the time, people let life determine what they do, right? They don't have a plan. They don't go, here's what I'm doing, and then I'm going to adjust, but I'm still going to move with this plan, right? Regardless of what happens. Most people make their plan based on whatever happened to them, right? So whenever something happens to them in life, maybe they got fired from their job, maybe they got some hours cut, maybe they had an unexpected expense come up, maybe their spouse has been writing them, about spending extra money. We don't know, right? But I do know this. When someone's in that state and they're like, hey, I want to break contract, I want to get out, I want to do whatever, most of the time, it has nothing to do with the actual service. Unless they come to you and they're like, hey, I want out because this service is crap, and here are all the reasons. And a lot of times you can tell what those are, and those are simple. You just fix the problem and you put them back on the wheel, right? What we're talking about right here is someone that's coming to you just going, I just want to get out, and they haven't told you any context, right? So when I go into those conversations, I go into like, what's going on with you in your life? Because I can't really help you until I know what's really going on. And the truth is, the first 3 to 5 minutes is going to be all bullshit anyway. You're not going to be telling me the real thing. It's your filter. It's whatever's on top of your mind. So we have to have the patience and the grace, the weave in there, and figure out what the real stress is, because they signed up for a reason. So we got to find out, like, what's causing you this lack of certainty with where you're at with things. And then hopefully rebuild that certainty in whatever aspect that is in the service. And what I found is most of those deals you can save, or once again, figure out the best path moving forward. There's been times where I've extended someone's payments or adjusted things, figure out the solution for them in their situation and not be so rigid is what I found in my experience. If you go in there super rigid, like an Amazon customer support rep, all you're going to do is piss them off and drive them away. But if you go to them like a human being and talk to them how you would want to be talked to if you were going through something tough, because they don't want to break their word. Nobody wants to break their word. Now, do a lot of people break their word? Absolutely. But nobody goes out there going, I'm going to break my word. So let's find out what's going on.
Yeah. And I completely agree. Andrew, what's your opinion on this?
I mean, I didn't have to deal with this in my nutrition business, although I had 6-month contracts. So if somebody wasn't willing to sign up for a 6-month all up front and they wanted to do a payment plan, we basically had to write in a specific addendum into it that they were going to complete the contract even when things got hard. And there were going to be times when things got hard and they weren't going to want to do it anymore and they were going to want to quit. And if they ever felt that way, they were required per contract to get onto a phone call with me and to have a conversation with me. And I had about 5 people do that phone call, and I did exactly what Jonathan mapped out. Where it was like, have that conversation, what's going on? And at the end of the day, it was because things got too hard. Their body was just doing crazy things during the cellular detox process that I was having them go through. And they just were at their wits' end, and life was overwhelming at that time. And I found out when people want to break contracts, it's because they are overwhelmed with everything else that's going on in life, that they can't actually fathom this other thing going on. So when you are there in their support system through the whole thing, without judgment, without being defensive, and without any of those things, and you're just like, what's going on? What's the real issue here? And you can get to that human to human level, everything just goes the way that you want it to.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head too with that, dude, man. It's like people get overwhelmed, At least the clients that you want to work with are doing stuff that put them in a place to. I'm talking about those clients that are like, man, I was at home smoking weed all day and show up for the session. That's what I thought of. I was like, man, not that guy. I put that guy on medicine balls, man, do push-ups for 10 minutes and watch them fall over. Like, don't ever do that shit again. But yeah, dude, it's a great point you bring up with that. Man, I totally lost my train of thought because now I'm thinking about the weed guy doing push-ups on medicine balls.
He's reliving his glory days. Like, that was so fun.
It was, man, that pissed me off so bad that day.
I want
What
to.
was it that you just said, Andrew? I totally had a space cadet
They
moment.
are overwhelmed with everything in life.
Oh yeah. So they're overwhelmed. So it might even be just dialing back the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like maybe it's like, hey, I'm training 3 times a week, and they think in their eyes, I just have to quit it completely. It's like, no, you don't. Like, how about we go twice a week or once a week, and we just adjust things for this season that you're going through, which is tough, and then we'll pick back up once we make it through together. You know?
I want to preface this with a story of where I was and what I do now. Where I am now is very similar to what you guys do. But when I first started, I only worked with when I was the coach, I only worked with basically business owners. Like I would not work with anyone who didn't own a business because I just don't get along with people who don't own a business just because the way I am. I'm very much like, here's the facts, enjoy it. Oh, you don't like it? Cool. Um, but so do you guys know whenever you're trying to get ice from the bottom of a cup and it's like all compacted down there and you just can't get that like single ice cube to come down, it's like stuck in there at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
I was that one piece of ice that was like, hold, no, hold. I was that. That was me. That was that ice. So if someone came to me and like, okay, you signed up for 6 months and you're wanting to cancel, why do you want to cancel? Okay, I don't care. 6 months. Like there was no like I don't care about what's going on in your life. It was just no. You said 6 months. I'm charging you. You don't have to come, but I'm charging you. So that was me.
Well, sometimes people need that side too. Like
Well,
I've had people where I've had that exact conversation, and we went off to have a great relationship after that. I call that a saber rattle, where it's like, hey, I'm not fucking around.
With the people I worked with, that worked great, by the way. Like
Yeah.
most of the people that I chose to keep as clients, like that worked great. Just because they seem the same way. I'm like, hey, my job is to keep these lights on. You agreed to this. We're doing this. Now though, and what I'm coaching people on is like what you guys said, where you're actually gonna have a conversation. You're gonna work through things. We're gonna actually try to figure out the root of the problem instead of like just like giving up on everything. Try to find a better course of action. Um,
Well, dude, I just don't want to like gloss over your part because that sounds all cutesy when you say it like that, and it is, and it's nice and fluffy. But dude, don't get it twisted. There's people where I started down that route, and I just found out that they were just, I just don't want to. Like, that's when I'm like, you gonna fucking pay today. Let me put this mask on. and I say it in a joking manner, and I talk about mask and stuff, but the truth is it's all me in one place. But I share that because there's not a one stop, like you do A plus B plus C, and that's how the conversation goes. Like there's certain things you got to read within people, and it's also the situation, right? Like what's best for everyone involved moving forward. What's the big picture that you got to consider with that? But kind of weaving this all the way back to like this season of like, man, like what are things I need to do so I'm set up for 2025? Is let's say that this is something you run into constantly at your gym. Might be memberships, might be personal training, but you're like, dude, I'm constantly having to have the cancellation conversation. And if you're anything like me, I hate that conversation. I can't stand it. And if you're that sales guy, it's like, I love those conversations because then I flip them into them buying more. Shut the fuck up. Right. I'm talking about building a business in a manner to where you've got your systems and your service flowing so well, you don't even need to have those conversations because those conversations are managed and handled before those things ever become issues. So something that, Andrew, I can't remember which one of y'all said it, but one of y'all said it here a few minutes ago, was you talked about in the contract, you make it very clear up front, here is that process if and when that happens, right? He's thorough. He goes over it. They sign it. And then once again, if and when that happens, This is the play we go through, right? That's all systematized. That's all, Andrew had to go see a lawyer. That lawyer then had to create that document. Andrew then had to probably fuck it up, creating it, putting in his system a few times, like everybody does. And then he obviously has to use that moving forward. But how much time, Andrew, do you think you've saved from yourself from doing things like that one time and then going off and running your business?
So much time.
Yeah.
I also want to add on this too. This is a lesson that I learned and something I'm practicing now. If you're someone who works with a team of people, like for example, I don't coach anymore, I have a team of coaches. I literally sat down with all my coaches today and had a meeting and said, morally, what stance will you take if this happens to you? What would you feel comfortable doing? Someone comes to you, they're like, hey, I want out of this 6-month contract. What would you feel morally comfortable doing? Because at the end of the day, like if you're going to be the person who's leading the ship, you're going to have people doing things. You can give them the systems and processes, but if their heart's not in it, if they're doing something they don't feel morally comfortable with, they're not going to uphold it to the degree that they need to. So as a team, we got together and agreed what they felt comfortable with, what was right, and what worked for the business too. So everyone was in alignment to be like, okay, when X happens, if it's not one of these things, like if it's not like, okay, I got hit by a car, I had an important relative die, like something major happened in your life, I will stand my ground. Like that's kind of like the conversation we had of like
that's
when
awesome,
you will stand
man.
your ground.
I've never done it that way before. I was always like, you motherfuckers better not be losing me deals.
No, what will you stand your ground on? What will you not? Like, that's what I need
to know. To be honest. Now, eventually, I realized when you put the trainer first, more money comes when you do it that way versus riding him like a jockey, just like, hee-haw, we need more resigns. I learned that through my tenure as a fitness manager. I apologize to y'all that were under my leadership in my early years.
We all have to go through that phase.
Yeah, man. Nah, dude, it's a good point, man. But, and there's a million things we can dissect with all this stuff, right? Because, like, dude, like another point you brought up too, like, and dude, I didn't even know this. Like, you were talking about, what was it? They're trying to pass a law to require gyms to allow online cancellations.
Yeah.
That's I'll let you break down more of it, but like, that's another case in point on why like having this stuff dialed in is super, super important, because some of this stuff looks like it's going to be forced down upon us come down here in the future.
True. I haven't. So this is something that came up through the grapevine a couple of months ago, and I haven't heard it resurface in a while. So I'm going to do some more research on this and probably talk about it more in future episodes. But they're trying to pass a law that every subscription-based service, and the one that I seen was specifically talking about fitness industry, and it was affecting Planet Fitness the most, has to have a way for you to cancel your membership online. So like they go to your website, it has to be in bold, click here to cancel your membership kind of thing. Like it has to be super easy, kind of like the unsubscribe process on an email. It has to be that simple. And businesses like Planet Fitness, obviously,
Dude, I'm sorry, dude. I just have flashbacks just thinking about being like back when I was a general manager, just coming in the club. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Sue. Like doing the GM tour, and you sit down and you look at the numbers and you pull it in. All of a sudden, you see like fucking like 2,000 in dues just disappear instantly. That's because a bunch of people canceled online, dude. That's terrifying.
Yeah. It's a nightmare for a lot of industries that rely on like subscription-based services. And
especially in fitness, because like the saving grace in fitness was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. When's the last time you've been in the club? And I'm already looking at it in the desk. I'm like, this bitch ain't been here since November. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, what were your goals when you signed up? And basically, I talked Susan into coming into the gym, and my goal was to try to talk her out of canceling. Like, that was the play, man. That was the standard, what you do in the gym. Someone goes online, Susan's like, I know better than what Jonathan's going to top me out of canceling for the 6th time already. I'm just going to go online, boop, cancel that way.
I honestly feel like so I look at this kind of differently, and this isn't a business owner thing. This is 100% an ethical thing for me. Like, the reason why I like commitments is because people want to quit fitness because it's fucking hard. But if
Yeah.
you sign a commitment, that might just be that little sauce on top that keeps you going. Or having to have a conversation to cancel might be that little bit of sauce. And not even from a business standpoint. Like, at the end of the day, if you're going to the gym and you have the worst training in the world, but you're going to the gym and you weren't, you're going to be better. Like,
Right.
if we make it easier for them to cancel than it was for them to sign up, no one's going to get anywhere.
I'll tell you who ruined it, and I'll name drop them because fuck them. Fitness Connection. I'm going to tell y'all a story about that company. So I never worked for Fitness Connection. Forewarn. I did work with a company that worked inside of Fitness Connection. I know it's a very weird concept. It was a personal training company that was subcontracted from their gym. Anyway, they do $10 a month, super big gyms. They basically set up behind 24-hour fitnesses and just leech off their members. Nom, 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 nom. Anyway, I shit you not. I was working in their Arlington location, and I look around the corner looking for like my appointment, and there's a front desk girl who was super sweet. I don't remember her name, but she was just super nice, right? And I remember her because all the other front desk girls were fucking mean as shit to me, but she was the one that was nice to me. And everyone knows you got to make friends with someone at front desk, otherwise all your appointments are going to get fucked up. So I made friends with her, but I saw her bawling her eyes out one day, right? And I go up to her and I'm like, what's wrong? She had just got done being cussed out, man, by like a couple members for wanting to cancel their gym membership. And all she did was tell them the company process. That's it. And she had to stay by it, right? And they just beat the shit out of her, man. Over $10 a month, which once again tells you the kind of people $10 a month memberships attract. Anyway, so as I find out, I'm like, well, what's the cancellation process? I'd never really dug too much into that side. I was like, unless they want personal training, I don't really give a shit. Come to find out, their cancellation process required you to mail a physical letter to their tiny corporate office in Florida somewhere that had a history of never getting there or getting lost in order to cancel a $10 per month membership. And this place had technology, dude. They have like paperless contracts, but them motherfuckers can't cancel gym memberships unless you send a pigeon with a courier pigeon with a letter tied to its leg over to Florida. That was their way of like making it so fucking hard. I literally saw someone once they heard that go, fuck it, man, and just literally walk out. Just like, whatever, man, I'll just keep paying. like that, like the stress of writing a letter was worth more than the benefit of the $10. Anyway, so I share that because it's that stuff that caused this blanketed law to mess things up. So for the rest of us out there that run like studios and one-on-one and actually give a shit about the members, right, and want to be in there and want to be successful, these are things that are going to be important for you to know. And especially with your contracts, like just because they can cancel online doesn't mean they can cancel anytime. So just getting those things in place and making sure that not only are you compliant, but dude, how you streamline this so that you're not stuck talking to 50 to 100 people about how they need to cancel. Like that's not where you need to be spending your time in your business. And if you are, God bless you, dude. I feel sorry for you. I'd give you a hug if I could. That's not a fun season to be in.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those indicating factors that like, so there's 3 things in business that should always be a red flag. Leads aren't coming in, people are leaving, and we're losing people who actually coach the people in fitness. We're losing our coaches, so we have no one to coach.
Right.
If any of those three things are going on, there should be like sirens going on somewhere, and like you should be like, okay, this is red alert zone. We need to figure out what's going on.
For real, man. You know,
I honestly,
so
I see it as an opportunity to get ahead of everything. So if the reality is that that's going to be a requirement coming soon from the FTC that it's you have to cancel online, then why not create a win back promo or an opportunity to build your business online? Because if their excuse for not going to the gym is because it's too far, they're too busy, they're tired, you can basically, if they click that unsubscribe or unsubscribe, if they click that cancel the gym membership button, you don't have to automatically just say congratulations, you're gone, see ya. You can have that become a brand new page where it comes and says here's this new offer, and you basically say I can get you online and it's going to be this much, and you won't have to take the time to drive to the gym, and the time you spend driving to the gym you would already have your workout in and done.
So you either do your pant dropper or your panty dropper offer. Would you like to hear the difference, Andrew? The pants drop offer is like, here's everything for $1. Yeah. Y'all ever see them shits? It pisses me off.
Yes.
Because I'll pay the full price and then I'm like, oh, I'll cancel. And then they do a pant drop offer. They're like, here's my pee-pee. And they're like, here's everything for $1. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. Like, y'all, like for real, like that's a big turn off to me. Anyway, but then there's the panty dropper, which is the sexy offer, which is not cheap, but it's like super jam packed with value. So that's a great point, dude. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but the reality is you could probably get them to come in at a higher price because what they need is more accountability than anything else.
Yeah, their needs aren't being met. That's how you look at it. It's like, hey, clearly your needs aren't being met for whatever reason. We would like to make sure that we do right on our end to help you with that. And then once again, then you can kind of guide them on. That's smart. Hey, y'all paying attention? I'm gonna write this down for me. We over here dropping game for ourselves. You know what I mean?
I think Andrew himself was just like, that's what he's writing down right before he said that. Was like, you know what?
Literally, while you two were talking, I was like, wait, because you said it's like unsubscribing from an email, and I have a secret sauce with unsubscribing from an email. I was like, wait a second, we could do this here too.
Let the games begin. This would be the moment where I went, okay, see you guys, and you didn't see me for like 2 weeks. So like, guess what?
we over here cooking, y'all. Over here just cooking up this free game. You get some game. You get some game. And you get some game. Everybody gets some game today. This is basically what a Monday call feels like.
Yeah. Technically, it is a Monday call for anyone who doesn't know.
Technically, it is. So, you know, regardless of how you slice it, there's so much opportunity going into 2020. That was like way too many 20s. 2025. With whatever direction you want to go with this. And, you know, once again, whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, at the end of the day, we're all American at the end of the day. And, you know, I believe that all of us just want to be able to go pursue what we deem to believe happiness. And I believe that these next 4 years are going to be the best that we've seen in a very long time in terms of the right environment. Because don't get it twisted. We make our own destinies at the end of the day through what we do, right? Some of my best years have been through the worst seasons in the economy, right? But it's a lot easier to swim downstream than it is to swim upstream, if you're picking up what I'm saying. So we're about to hit some downstream seasons is what I'm saying. So get your house in order, whether that's your systems, whether that's hiring people, whether that's, you know, maybe your mindset, maybe you need a mentor, or maybe it's getting your own fitness back in alignment. Whatever that is, whatever the things that you've been putting off, start doing them now. Because if you start getting those in alignment during the slow time, which is now and next month, that's what's going to give you that foundation to springboard into 2025. And these 4 years, this is my prediction. I think these 4 years are going to fly by. I think we're going to blink. We're going to look up and be like, man, that was fun. And the next thing we know, that shit's over. And then we're right back going through this bullshit that we just got out of in another epic battle of powers to say. So my recommendation is to can all you do and do all you can these next 4 years. I know that's what we're going to be doing. So with that being said, you know what? I always do final remarks. I'm going to give to you today, Josh. Sign us off.
Sounds good. So if you're ready to have a rockin' 2025 and you got some good ideas and values from this, please drop a comment and share it with your friends so they can get the same value. Don't share all that goodness for yourself. That's just rude. We need to make this as easy as it would be to cancel a gym membership after that law's passed. And then you can put that sauce on that Andrew was talking about. But with that being said, go get what you're worth.
Yeah. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. If you enjoyed the episode and you got value from it, I want to make sure that I invite you to join our Facebook group, Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. Once again, we've got about over 3,000 other fit pros in there of like-minded individuals. It's also the place where we do continued education workshops, boot camps, courses, the whole work, so that we can continue to help y'all get what you're worth in every area of your life. So if you haven't joined that community, make sure you hop on over there, and I'll see you on the other side.